good friends.
Oh, me
You
too.
have
Answer the question. He
gathered
brought it
here
up
with some
said,
great gifts and
"What
Fred.
is the right time to leave a vehicle?"
I don't know where Fred's going to fit, but we'll find a place for him in the car. So thank you very much.
We're all
Bon voyage!
I ordered a bunch of hats for the party, but they misspelled my name, which was actually quite funny, and I ended up getting a full refund. My plan today is to drive to Nashville via Chattanooga. So I'm going to start out by navigating to the supercharger in Chattanooga, because I think I'll drive around a little bit in Chattanooga, including perhaps Rock City, Lookout Mountain, in that area. So as you see, it's going to take me about 3 hours and 21 minutes to get there, and I'm not fully charged at the moment, but I will be before I depart, and I'll have about 14% state of charge when I arrive. So that's all pretty good. I'm going to let it charge up a little longer. You can also see that at the moment there are 2 stalls out of order in Chattanooga out of 6. That's not good, but there's 3 available, so there's only 1 car charging at the moment. But I'll check this out a little bit on the way. So we're off. Just leaving the driveway, and not expecting to come back for something over 3 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to me in the meantime. The entrance to the clubhouse. They do a nice job with the flowers in the traffic circle in front of the clubhouse, I think. So I'm going to park here in one of our reserved for dining parking spaces and duck into the clubhouse for a little something to go. Walking into the clubhouse, I never tire of this view, looking out over the 18th green with Chimney Top Mountain in the background. You can see them mowing the green for today's play, and that's the 9th hole. So over to the breakfast bar for a quick cup of coffee, and we're gone. The club is named for Wade Hampton, whose family had a summer home in this part of North Carolina. His father was a wealthy land speculator in South Carolina, and even though he was unenthusiastic about secession from the Union, he enlisted in the Confederate Army and eventually rose to become a lieutenant general. After General Jeb Stuart was killed in battle, he assumed command of the Confederate cavalry at the Army of Northern Virginia. After the war, he became governor of South Carolina and then served 2 terms in the United States Senate. Okay, so I got my cup of coffee from the clubhouse and a little caffeine, so I think I'm ready to go. Okay, I'm leaving Wade Hampton on the first leg of my journey, which is to Chattanooga, Tennessee. On the right, we're passing the new High Hampton Golf Club, which was totally redeveloped by a Birmingham developer. He brought in Blackberry Farms to run the hotel and the spa, and they've done extremely well. I suspect they're sold out, or if not sold out, pretty close to sold out. This is interesting. On the right, they are building a cart path bridge which will go over the road. That's going to cost a few shekels. Cashiers has been very fortunate in the past 10 or 15 years, mostly through community philanthropy, to construct about a 15-acre park in the middle of the city. There are beautiful gardens, a playground which is wonderful for kids and grandkids. And they have a beautiful new center for indoor or outdoor performance and exhibits. And we now have a dentist here, which we didn't have for a while. I went to him a few weeks ago. He's excellent. Clemson grad. I take it back. He's a Citadel grad. This is our local fire department. It's a volunteer fire department. It's actually quite good. They've got 2 locations. They say in the mountains that taxes flow downhill. And by that they mean that most of the high-income second home people are not voters here, so they pay a substantial amount of the taxes but have very little influence on the vote. So the county seat for Cashiers is in Silva,
in 500 feet,
which is
right to stay on
a little bit out of the mountains. And the same with Transylvania County, which is Highlands.
On Edward Fowler Road for 1/10 of a mile.
And there the taxes also flow downhill to the county capital. So this is our local post office, which I'm going to stop at very quickly.
On Frank Allen.
We don't have mail home delivery up here. I think it's a big enough town to have it. I think there are smaller towns that do, but I guess with the post office financial problems, we're not likely to get it anytime soon. So I'm going to pop into my mailbox. And it looks like we got a package to pick up. So we're now driving on US 64 from Cashiers to Highlands. It's not very far as the crow flies, but it's a very windy road, as you can see. But it's very scenic. On the right here is the entrance to Old Edwards Golf Club, which was acquired by the Old Edwards Hotel in Highlands, and they have made a substantial investment over the last 10 years in that hotel. They now have a spa, great dining. It's a member of Rouleau and Chateau, or one of those fancy chains. Quite good. Now we're coming up on a very scenic view here to my left. Oh, 1-lane road it says. We don't get hung up with the traffic here. This is the scenic overpass that I'm referring to. It's really beautiful. I'm going to splice in some footage that I took earlier here. In front of us is Whiteside Mountain. This valley is particularly beautiful in the fall. During the last 2 weeks of October, there's a phenomenon known as the shadow of the bear, which is caused by the angle of the sun behind Whiteside Mountain, which is a 5,000-foot mountain to the right of this picture. So every afternoon you will see dozens of tourists at this viewing spot to observe this phenomenon, which only occurs during that time of the year. Coming up on the right is the Bobby Grace putting studio. You can see his Sprinter van out there, and he has a complete workshop in his house as well. Bobby Grace has spent most of his career designing, manufacturing, and selling putters. He estimates he sold about 1.4 million worldwide. A few years ago, he sold his home in Clearwater, Florida, and moved to the Highlands Cashiers Plateau, where he set up a putting studio. I've been to him several times and bought several putters from him, and I think he's terrific. He's in the process of taking delivery of a new Sprinter van, so you may very well see him on some road trips of his own. Well, we're out of the mountains now, down in the so-called river bottom. To our left is the Colosaja River, and we're heading to, well, that's interesting, taxidermy. That's a big taxidermist. And we're heading to Franklin, North Carolina. The Tennessee River again. Beautiful. Taking a quick pit stop at a rest area off I-24. Tennessee does a nice job with this. So on closer inspection, I'd have to say this is maybe the prettiest state rest area I've ever seen. I just walked across the street from the restroom area, and look at this. Has a beautiful picnic area, absolutely spotless, and a glorious vista of the Tennessee River. Spectacular. If you walk down a little further, you'd have a nice view of that pretty bridge that spans the river. This rest stop is actually built on the island across the Tennessee River. So we're about 8 miles from Suwanee, and I must say this is a very pretty drive. They sure used some dynamite to build this highway. Exit 13, Mont Eagle, about 1. I enjoyed my visit to the University of the South, otherwise known as Suwanee. My friend Sam tells me it has 10,000 acres, which is a very sizable campus. It's a very good school. I know that my daughter Jennifer considered going there before she settled on Wake Forest. I made it all the way to the Manchester, Tennessee Supercharger. This is a very nice stop. Lots of places to eat, very clean. So So it's ramping up. Looks like I've got 107, come on up there, 110. 130. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll take it, 130. It says I need to stay here 40 minutes to be fully charged, but I really don't need that much because I'm going to Nashville and it's not that far. So I think I'll stop at Bojangles. I'm not sure if I've ever been to Bojangles. So after I got back to the car in about 20 minutes, I found that I had completely charged up and the tab was $6.93. According to this, I've got 63 miles, 55 minutes to my hotel. I made a last-minute hotel reservation while I was having dinner, saved 25%. So this flexible traveling, so far I'm saving money. Approaching Knoxville now from the south. Knoxville has gotten to be a very large city. It's booming. And it's got traffic accordingly. I'm going to take this 52B exit, Interstate 40 East. It's 5:28 p.m. here, Central
Now
Time,
take exit 52B on the right.
and it's hot. It's 97 degrees. Nashville can be quite hot in the summer. It's in a valley on the Cumberland River, so not only is it hot, but it's also humid. Arrived at my hotel for the evening and was pleasantly surprised to see that they had a level 2 charger, so I'm charging up overnight. So at the end of day one, I traveled 325.2 miles and used 78 kilowatt hours with an efficiency of 239 watt hours per mile, which is extremely efficient, but that's primarily due to the fact that I was coming downhill from the mountains.